websites. 'Cause,
Really?
yeah, they won't allow that.
But your
you know.
children don't have any problems with that because they are Korean citizens because
Right.
they were born here, right?
We did have a problem registering my son's name because when we went to the local office to register his name, we were told that we couldn't. There was a misunderstanding because I think. Well, there was a misunderstanding, and we were told that we couldn't register him under the name that we wanted to register him.
Really?
And that then when I went to register his birth with the Canadian Embassy, I tried to register him that and under the name that we wanted, and then they said, oh well, you can't because this is what the local office has him registered at. And I said, well, we wanted to do that, but she told us we couldn't. And then the woman said, the embassy official said, oh, this is like the 10th time that's happened.
Really?
And phoned that person right at that desk and just explained, like, this is the law. And so there's a lot of things where nobody's really been updated on what you're allowed to do and not allowed to do.
But I feel like it should be updated by now because we
Well,
actually have a
it's
pretty big
updated.
population, right?
Yeah, but it's a lot of it really depends on that person at the desk, and whether they're gonna just check, because a lot of times you have to actually insist that, hey, can you just check that this is possible, because I know it's possible, and because you're the first person, as a customer or client to ever go in and ask for that thing.
Oh.
So
I guess for you, the naming thing wasn't very difficult, or was it?
Oh, I face the same problem as what
Really?
you
Yeah.
face
Oh, really?
as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
But your children, they have Korean names, right?
They have a Korean name, so actually the officer will insist they have to use only Korean names, no
Yeah.
Christian names, and even the spelling have to be exactly the Korean pronunciations. So I say that
Really?
for what I know, it can be done, but then they say that it can't be done.
yeah, so sometimes you just give up, like you don't want to get in an argument. So,
Oh,
you're
so
just
how did you resolve that situation?
we didn't. So we went with that, and at some point in the future, going to Canada, it costs $200. You fill out some form and it's changed. But in Korea, well, when we looked into it, I think you have to actually go to one of the courts or something. It's a more involved process to fix that kind of mistake.
Oh.
So
Wow, that's definitely something I think our listeners would like to hear, because I know there's a lot of multicultural families here, but like you said, I guess if the person that's taking care of it, if they've never dealt with something like that before, then
Yeah.
it's, they just can't deal with it.
right.
And it's really good that the parents get that done earlier, because when they get up to it, let's say my situation coming back is mixed, trying to get a special visa or dual citizenship, the paperwork is also just as complicated, and also you have to go to different places to try to get it clarified, because I actually got rejected from my F4 visa the first
Really?
time because the office didn't know how to process it, and then I had to go to another office that actually knew what to do. So if you don't get it done when you're younger, then you just kind of put the problem on your kids when they get older, right?
Right.
So, but still, it's just kind of another kind of just example of how these things are not being.
There's no structure or no organization, I guess.
And if it's not with the government, I don't see how we can possibly ask the people to be able to accept that, to be able to
Right.
accept it if even at the government, not saying anything bad about the government, but just showing that kind of unified kind of approach to,
Right.
if we can get it done here, then we can get it done here,
Right.
then we can get it done here, and then
Right.
we can start building on that.
Right, so a sort of synchronized
Yeah.
measure. So I guess that just brings us to another question here. What sort of measures do you think the government should implement to help cope with these sort of problems, or just any sort of problems in general that you face as multicultural families here?
I guess I'll let the multicultural families answer that, right?
Well, I've talked about this a lot with Chanuk in the past, but there are a lot of programs, and there does seem to be a lot of kind of good intention behind all of it. But I think the main issue is, or one of the where the focus needs to shift is the multicultural families need some attention and some work, but I think it needs to be beyond that as well. That the culture as a whole, that we need to sort of look at ways that not just integrating multicultural families into Korean society, but
Right.
also, having making the society as a whole kind of more inclusive. I think that's a way to go. So it means reaching out to the public school down the road
Right.
and giving supporting elementary school teachers, giving them the tools and the training to deal with kids, not just deal with a multicultural classroom, but also be able to teach a classroom full of Korean kids about the what a diverse Korean culture means, right? What it
Right.
means to live in a Korea full of
Because it
diverse
is
people.
really becoming diversified.
Yeah.
Right, right. What about you, Serene?
I share the same opinion as what he said.
Mm-hmm.
So it means that not only the multicultural families, but as a public, they have to adapt
Right,
the multicultural families here as
right,
well.
right.
So yeah.
There's really a growing number, and I do believe that it's really important that the education should start young, that teachers should be trained first so that they can teach their children first about this, so that it will become, I guess our society will become a more open and welcoming society, I guess.
And, that's one thing with the MAC Foundation that one of our focus is, and the motto is accept all of us, and it means accept all of the diversity of Koreans. And so that's why when MAC stands for Movement for the Advancement of Cultural Diversity of Koreans. And when we say that, we're not necessarily saying that Korea needs to become a multicultural society. Korea doesn't need to become another America,
Right.
But what we're saying is the diversity of who Koreans are is so diverse. We have mixed Koreans, adoptees, North Koreans. We have the multicultural families. We have the international people that are coming here to relocate here. I mean, there's just that identity of who Koreans are and what Koreans are. That needs to kind of be the approach, because once we can say we accept you no matter what you look like, we accept you no matter what name is on your passport, we accept you no matter what your parents are, because we know you're in Korea and you identify yourself as a Korean, and that's really all that should matter. And if we
And
can
you're
just,
making your life here.
and you're making your
Yeah.
and you're contributing to the country and to the future of the country, and that's really what's most important, right? And if we can just look at and accept all of those diversities that's here, and the Koreans that are abroad that come back, because Korea is one of the few countries where so many Koreans that are abroad come back.
Right.
It's like we come back here for whatever reason. And when we can accept that, I think we'll even see less need for a lot of policies, because it'll just be part of our culture.
Well, in the years that you've lived here, do you think there's been a little bit of change?
Oh yeah, I think it's changed a lot, but some of those changes have been really great, and some have been a little ham-fisted or not so elegant. And I think, and that's actually one of the exciting reasons about being here is because you're living in this place where this change is happening so quickly, and you're also looking at your identity a lot more than you would say like if you were growing up in your hometown in Canada or something. So you become really sensitive, and you start to care a lot about how these changes are being implemented and stuff. And so I don't know, I think it's going. It's got a way to go.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's improved quite a lot compared to last time. And honestly, I think that Korean is one of the country that actually they have one of the warmest heart in the international. But yet I'm just appreciate if they can accept even those adoptees or those who are multicultural as what they accept those international peoples in Korea.
Right.
Using the same heart accept those people.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us your insight. And, I think sharing with us, there's things that, I'm Korean, so there's things that I would never experience, like the banking problems and stuff like that. I would have never known that you would, go through these problems. And I think we really do need to get the word out, and, we need to start telling people, or I guess, giving more insight on what's going on and the difficulties maybe that you experience for changes to happen within the government or within schools, within our communities. So thank you so much for joining us. I think it's really meaningful that we're talking about this on Chuseok, which is a day where families spend together. So so we had Mr. Gregory Diggs Yang and Mr. Aiden Hammond and Miss Serene Shin joining us today, sharing about their personal experience